All right, so in this one, we're going to talk about how to teach your child to read letters, the letters sounds, and the names, not just the names, like we would do with the alphabet. So we're going to jump right in. The first step would be to start with one at a time. Second step, reach teach them the name and sound. Third step, play a game. So if that makes sense to you, you're ready to go, you're vetted, you just needed like a little structure to how you're gonna, what steps you're gonna take. You got what you need. Thank you so much for reading, for listening to this, and we'll see you in the next one. If you need a little bit more detail, we're gonna jump right in. So here's that first step. Start with one letter at a time. Vowels are going to be a great place to start because they're the most commonly used letters in the English alphabet. Just to review, the vowels are A, E, I, O, and U. Sometimes Y, but we'll leave Y for a little bit later. When starting out, A will be the first letter. Show them the letter and then say A says A and give them the letter sound. Once they can immediately look at that letter and say the sound and name correctly, they are ready for the next letter. Build on as you go. Once they master A, teach them E. Once they master that, review both A and E, and then introduce I. And your stack of letters should grow as you progress onto each new letter. After they've mastered all of the vowels, A, E, I, O, U, move on to the common consonants like B, D, F, G, S, T, and so on. If you need a refresher on the letters, names, and sounds, there's a video available on YouTube. The second step is going to be to teach them the letter name and the sound. We kind of touched on that a little bit earlier, but we're going to dig a little bit deeper. So, traditionally, we're taught that simply saying the names of the letters is enough to prove that you can read. But it turns out that this is only one component of something called phonemic awareness. And phonemic awareness is just a fancy term for being able to recognize a letter and read it. When we read, the name of the letter does nothing to help us if our brain can't match it with the sound. The process goes a little bit something like this. We see the letter, and our eyes send the message to our brain. Our brain sifts through its knowledge and recognizes the letter, then recalls the sound for that letter, sends it back to our mouth, and then we produce the sound. And all of this happens in seconds for every single letter in every single word that we read. It's a miracle that any of us can read at all, and a true testament to how amazing the brain really is. When I taught kindergarten, I usually had just one or two students who knew the letters and the sounds. A handful knew the letters, but most came without any knowledge of either. We eventually learned it all, but I can't help but wonder how much more we could have learned if all of the children came with basics already covered. That's where you come in as their parent. You're your child's first teacher, and you have most of the time with them, precious one on one time. And I encourage you to maximize it. So, after we focus on the letter names and sounds, we move on to playing. You can play a game to solidify their knowledge. This is where you pull out you know, um, the creative stuff. We can start with online games. My favorite top twos are Monster Match and Match and Alphabet Bingo. I also have tutorials of those two on YouTube. Please go check those out. Those are awesome, awesome, awesome. And if you're looking to spend some more hands on one, face to face time with your child, here's some interactive ways to incorporate the learning sounds. You can write the letters on paper, tape them up in different areas of the house. So the letters that you guys have been practicing. Let's say that you've learned all the vowels so far, right? Tape them all up in the house, one in each area of the house. Call out a letter, and the child has to run or walk to that letter and say the sound. Or you can say the sound and they have to find it, vice versa. Or you can hold it up, however you want to do it. Maybe you have like a flashcard and you hold it up and they run and find it, say the name and the sound. Another game that you could play is say the letter sounds in funny voices or make up a song together about the sounds. You could draw the letter in the air and have the child recall the letter and say the sound. And here's a bonus advanced review game. You could say the sound and have the child search the room for things that start with that sound. So those are ways that you can, maybe your child, they're just awesome. Like they're getting a little bored actually with the letter sounds because they know it so well. Make it a little bit harder. Okay, so let's find some things around the room that start with that letter. Those are some great ways to get started. If you would like some more, please contact us directly through our Facebook group. We always have great conversations in there. I'm sure there'll be somebody that'll be willing to give you some more creative ideas, specific ideas to your household dynamic and what your child is into and interested in. There are always ways to incorporate those things into the game and the lesson and the learning experience. So please take advantage of all of those opportunities. And until next time, guys, be well.